Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Football Town Show, and it's round 4 on the menu tonight as Richmond and Heidelberg kick off things in the women's draw of the V-League. We have Nikki Cook, who will look to inspire her Melbourne Uni side over a young EFA Eagles. Tilly Ford returns to action for Pascoe Vale, going up against arch rivals Vic Vipers FC. And then Claudia Frascalzo is another name who returns for Fitzroy, taking on Danny Pacheska's Ashburton FC. When we look at the men's side of things, Josh Berrios will look to continue his good form for the Green Machine against Mickleham, who haven't registered a point. And then it's the El Clasico, the fixture we've all been waiting for, as the Vic Vipers take on Pascoe Vale. Metropolitan looks to maintain their top 4 status as Dino Redzepovic goes up against Fitzroy FC and Ilhan Altunta. And then in the last clash of the night, 2 winless sides, Hume and Albert Park, will go head to head. First, let's join Jimmy Sufis for all the women's action.
So we start off with the women's side of things, ladies and gentlemen. Taking a look at last week's results, FC Richmond in a shock thumped Ashburton. Melbourne Uni went clear top, beating Pascoe Vale. Fitzroy knocked off the EFA Eagles in a tight one, and the Vic Vipers overcame a stubborn Heidelberg. Kicking off round 4 though was Heidelberg taking on a resurgent Richmond outfit who would be looking to continue their recent form. And they did just that in the early exchanges when Alki Stefanidis picked out Melinda Aloisio, who was unmarked in the D as she opened the scoring. But a poor substitution from Heidelberg saw Sky Jensen find the top corner and level the scores as Heidelberg looked to cause the ultimate upset. It wasn't to be though as Alki Stefanidis stepped up again to put Richmond back in front as they looked to shake off a stubborn Heidelberg side. Elif Elmer then dribbled through the Richmond defence as if they weren't there, and Clapham couldn't control her shot. Heidelberg were back on level terms once again. A long throw though from Clapham found Stefanidis, who had a poor shot on goal to be fair, but Mason Jones couldn't control it and Richmond went back in front before Stensholt burst through the Heidelberg defence to make it 4-2 before half time. And with not very long remaining, Arenley burst her way through and had a deflected shot scramble over the line, Mason Jones not having a good day at the office. Stensholt then battled her way through again and somehow squeezed it into the near post as Richmond began to really run away with this one. Mason Jones turns it over once again. Stensholt's shot was saved by Mason Jones and Arenley's chip going just over. For Heidelberg had another chance on goal through Sky Jensen, who hit the crossbar and was unlucky not to score. Late in the game though, Arenley found Aloisio unmarked and Ali Toure put the ball in to complete Richmond's 7-2 win.
I'm here with Aziz Arenley of FC Richmond. Aziz, tough start to the season for you girls, but you've really bounced back in the last 2 weeks. How have you seen this season so far?
Yeah, I mean, we had a few players out with the Premier League. Now that it's finished, we're hoping to have all the girls back each week, so to keep our forms. Should be all right from now on.
So you've dropped points already, you've dropped 4. Do you think you can come back and still win the league from here?
We hope to. We don't know. 2 games that we've played before, you know, Melbourne Uni are a tough side and we've had really good battles with them, so it just depends how we go. If we have our plays each week, we should be fine.
Next game on the card saw EFA Eagles taking on ladder leaders Melbourne Uni in a game that everyone thought would be completely one-sided. And it began that way when Nikki Cook's shot found Leticia Samet. She had the composure to pick out Marcela Marquez, who continued her great start to the season. It was then Marquez again who picked out an unmarked Nikki Cook, who drove the ball home from distance. Melbourne Uni began to run away with the game very early on. Marquez showing off all her skills as she left Balesis for dead and put her second away to have Melbourne Uni 3-0 up. Hannah Ryan then dribbled through the Melbourne Uni defence a little too easily. She topoed past Frances Land to keep her side in the game. Second half opening up though, Marquez back healing for Priscilla Ribas, who made no mistake with the finish, and Melbourne Uni raced to 4-1. Cook then played a brilliant 1-2 with Marquez as she drove the ball into the crossbar. Questions were asked whether it crossed the line, but it definitely did as she bagged her second and Melbourne Uni continued to run away with it. Ribas then played the ball into Samet, who found an unmarked Marquez, who rounded out the 6-1 win and kept Melbourne Uni top.
I'm here with one of the stars from Melbourne Uni FC Women's V-League, Tiara Kushima. Welcome back. It's been a few months off of the layoff. How did you feel out there?
Yeah, it was really good because this is my first game back, so I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to play for the whole season.
Next up saw one of the biggest rivalries in the land as Vic Vipers took on Pascoe Vale. A week after the men did battle, Vic Vipers coming up 4-3 winners that day, and it was an early mistake from Tilly Ford that allowed Kat Smith to poke the ball through Molly Bullman's legs to open the scoring for the Vic Vipers. Illy Jacob then played a brilliant 1-2 with Morani Czech as the ball bobbled out and Czech finally put in the rebound as Pascoe Vale drew level with time running out in the first half. before a bizarre turn of events saw Jess Bryan exchange words with Sarah Richardson after a foul, and she was sent off, reducing the Vipers to 3 right before the break. Second half opened up with Illy Jacob dribbling all the way through, and a good save from first gamer Chanel Camilleri denied them. But Sarah Richardson would not be denied the second time around. She rifled the ball into the top corner to put Pascoval in front before wishing a happy birthday to her mother via a t-shirt message. And then a mistake from Jen Nabu at the back allowed Morani Czech to almost make it 3. Kat Smith tried her best to rally her side back into the game, and they did just that when Bianca Lavonia curled one past Borman. She had no idea where it was, and they levelled the score before an accidental back pass from Jen Nabu fell kindly for Morani Czech, and she played it into the bottom corner for her second of the night to put Pascoval back in front. Another good chance from Pascoval saw Chloe Dranovsky go close to making it 4. A mattered little though as Pascoval scored from the resulting corner, the ball falling kindly for Illy Jakob, who put it away, put Pascoval 5-2 ahead and secure the victory. Late on though, with under a minute remaining, Sarah Richardson turned Michelle Duffy and drilled it into the bottom corner to round out a 6-2 win for her side.
You've seen what Melbourne Uni, they won, so you know it was a big game going into this game, because if you had lost, you would have been 2 games behind Melbourne. So to come out and perform the way you did under pressure was a credit to you and your team.
Yeah, no, so proud of the girls. You know, we've had, like, one of our girls, Tilly, she just came back from Europe and she's doing spectacularly. Like, we couldn't ask any better of her. She's just playing so well. All the girls, it's just really positive out there, and they've just fought so hard. I'm so honoured to be in with these girls, honestly.
Saved, Shane again. Saved from Chen. De Silva, lovely. Zilic not tracking his man. And De Silva runs straight through. Franjic, Joseph Franjic! What a belter! Drilled into the top corner from Joseph Franjic. That is a massive goal.
Looked up Campbell, another save. He has been good tonight.
Hi, I'm Casey and you're watching the Football Town Show.
Returning from the break, we have a look at the last clash of the night. Final game on the card saw Fitzroy FC taking on Ashburton FC in a game that both sides could ill afford to lose in their race for a top 4 finish. It was Fitzroy who got off to the better start as Frascalzo exchanged a 1-2 with Juliet Brown before putting the ball past Deb Lawrence to open the scoring. Juliet Brown was heavily involved again, but a poor piece of goalkeeping from Lawrence let the ball fall to Natasha Rooney, who made it 2-0 very early on. Lee Barrett then tried to blast her side back into the contest, but standing keeper Mitkovsky made a great save. A poor pass from Naomi Mackey was almost punished by Frascalzo, and Fitzroy continued to pile on the pressure, and Stephanie Otto made it 3-0 as Fitzroy continued to run away with this one. Otto then played a good ball through to Cassie Tsumbras, who just blazed wide. Fitzroy were absolutely dominating their rivals as Natasha Rooney got her second just before the half-time break to have her side 4-0 in front. Lee Barrett then tried to pull her side back into the game as she easily beat Juliet Brown and blasted past Mitkovsky. Danica Petreska's deflected effort then found the back of the net as Ashburton saw themselves crawling back into the game. Mitkovsky then rolled the ball out straight to Barrett, who drove it past her again as Ashburton then trailed 4-3, Fitzroy looking very, very nervous. And rightly so, as the ball fell to Barrett again and she drove it past Mitkovsky for her hat-trick and to tie the game at 4-4. Claudia Frascalzo dribbled all the way through, Deb Lawrence making a great save before a 5th foul penalty was converted by Otto to give Fitzroy the lead once again. A good passing move late in the half gave Fitzroy a 6th as Claudia Frascalzo squared the ball for Natasha Rooney to complete her hat-trick and a hard-fought 6-4 win.
I'm here with one of the stars from Fitzroy FC, Claudia Frascalzo. A game in halves. You got off to a flyer, and then what happened in the second half?
I think we lost a bit of concentration and they got over the top of us, scored, and it was a draw, but then we came in fighting at the end to win 6-4, I think it was. So it was good effort by the girls.
The girls went to the 5th penalty spot to seal the game. No one wanted really to take it. Why is that?
Oh, well, me and Otto, we're the Bundy girls, and we hate penalties. Every time we take one, we miss one, but she has a good kick on her, and I might take it. And she scored, which worked out, which is good.
Well, that's it for all the action from this week, ladies and gentlemen. A big round of futsal in the women's side of things. We'll take a look at the results. Richmond overcame Heidelberg 5-2. EFA Eagles went down to a high-flying Melbourne Uni. Pascoe Vale overcame the Vic Vipers, and Fitzroy got out of jail against Ashburton, needing a penalty to save them at the end of the game. Now we have a look at the ladder for you. We have a clear leader in Melbourne Uni who go to 12. Pascoe Vale and Fitzroy sit level on 9. A resurgent Richmond are up to 4th on 7. The Vic Vipers sit in 5th on 5. Ashburton in 6th on 4, while Heidelberg and EFA Eagles remain winless at this stage. Although it must be mentioned they have got very young squads and will improve as the season goes on. Now taking a look at the top goal scorers, Christine Duffy still leads the way on 8. Illy Jakob sits on 7, along with teammate Sarah Richardson on 7. Marcela Marquez is climbing, also on 7, and MJ Radjic from Richmond sits on 5, rounding out our top 5. As for next week's clashes, we see Ashburton take on Heidelberg, Pascoe Vale in a blockbuster against Richmond, a young EFA Eagles taking on the Vic Vipers, and Melbourne Uni will square off against Fitzroy in the final game of the night. Well, that's it for the women's segment of the show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for the men's coming up next.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the men's side of the Football Town show, where we have a look at the round 3 results. Fitzroy, as predicted, were too good for Albert Park, as were Pascoe Vale over Mickleham. Ashburton and Hume played a thrilling 6-all draw, and then the Vipers also continued on winning ways. First clash of the night saw lowly Mickleham FC take on Ashburton FC, who were looking to get inside the top 4, but it didn't go according to plan for the Green Machine, as David Kosturic headed in a beautiful ball for the 1-0 lead. Ashburton's in-form striker Ricky Castro then hit back as the standing captain made it 1-1. Iggy Filipovic, who had a stunning end to the last season, has been continuing his good form in front of goal as he restored Mickleham's slender lead. Moments later, Kosturic's slide ball found the boot of Iggy Filipovic, and the Mickleham striker thumped into the roof of the net past Con Mackish for one of the goals of the week. Moments later, Steve Carsfun went against the odds to save against Ricky Castro from a short penalty. As the half-time break neared, George Michaley broke through the Mickleham defence to score past Carsfun and reduce the deficit to only a goal, 3-2 at half-time. Yet another mistake at the back by Mickleham's Aaron Masinovic allowed Ashburton to get forward, Richie Ferguson setting up Davide Akavisi for his first of the game. Akavisi was then on hand to set up Josh Berrios as he easily turned his defender, and Ashburton soon found themselves in front. Ricky Castro, who's found a new lease of life since starting at Ashburton, was amongst the goals for his side yet again. His strike deflected into Richie Ferguson. Then in the next run of play, Ricky Castro got a goal for himself as he slid into Josh Berrios' cross, and soon Ashburton were well in control. Castro then soon had his third of the game as he deflected in Davide Akavisi's long-range effort. With the score now at 7-2, Mickleham needed to quickly score some goals, and they got their answer as Vlado Zoric and Eric Quinn linked up for their side's third. A brilliant Rodrigo Cobarabia strike restored order to Ashburton as they regained their 5-goal advantage. Eric Quinn set up Iggy Filipovic on the right sideline there as he left keeper Dale Mavromatis with no chance. Eric Quinn was putting his hand up for man of the match honours as he scored his second and had a hand in plenty of Ashburton attacking. Youngster Luke Hollian scored a long-range free kick to make the scores 8-7 with only minutes remaining. And when Mickleham were gifted a penalty after the final whistle, Iggy Filipovic cracked under the pressure and Ashburton held on for a vital win.
I'm here with one of the stars from Ashburton, David Jakovici. Tough game out there today. You almost lost it and you got the points. You must be relieved.
Yeah, we played a good game today. We are improving, we changed the team, but now it's better. I think that it was a strong game today, physical game, but in the second half we played very well, and I believe that we are improving, and I'm very happy today.
Cleared by Sharman Rajab. Really well done by Zurich. Lovely goal, not a yell. Absolute quality. Andrea Farina gives them a high five, says that's a nice goal. Gets the Vipers on the board within a minute. Quick fire stuff. That's what the Vipers were lacking. Viter off his line, shutting that down. Tahani finishes it off. Classy finish.
Hi, I'm Anna, and you're watching the Football
Town Show. Go Futsal!
Welcome back to the round 4 edition of the Futbol Town Show, ladies and gents, where we wrap up the final 3 men's games. And the next game on the card was an absolute blockbuster. The game on the calendar we all wait for, the El Clasico, the Vic Vipers taking on Pascoe Vale. Although Pascoe Vale were heavy favourites, you can never discount the Vipers in a derby game, and they took a 1-0 lead through a deflected corner strike off Joel De Silva. Miguel Barrigos was turning it on early as his long-range strike hit the crossbar, defeating Lorenzo de Paris. And then it was soon 1-1 as Andre Caro's volley from a corner found the foot of Frenchman Sofiane Soufi, who turned it in past Christos Apostolakis. Pascoe Vale almost went ahead at the break, but Johnny Tabakowicz couldn't convert his sliding effort. Just as they did in the first half, took the advantage when play resumed, Maxi Avram scoring a stunning free kick to put the Vipers back in front. With the crowd urging their respective sides on, Pascoe Vale got back into the game with some brilliant build-up play through Brazilians Joel De Silva, Andre Caro and Lucas Krul. Moments later, the game was turned on its head as Pascoe Vale keeper Lorenzo de Paris was sent off for bringing down Vipers playmaker Miguel Barrigos. Captain Johnny Barrientos then converted the resulting penalty past injured keeper Felipe Blay, who had to get dressed up and help out his teammates the best that he could. Mateo Rocca's long-range effort just hit the outside of the post, and then the Vipers were dealt a red card of their own as Miguel Barrigos was sent off for a second yellow card offence. Mateo Rocca had made a big impact since coming off the bench as he linked up with Joel De Silva for his second goal of the game to level the scores at 3-3 with only minutes remaining. But there was more drama to come as Jason Barrientos found some space in the D to finish past Felipe Blay. Joel De Silva had one last chance, but Christos Apostolakis stood firm.
I think this season the hunger from the Vic Vipers is more there than what it was last season. Is that how you feel about Vic Vipers? Because last season you was just going through the motions.
Last season we focused on AFC, obviously, so we put all our emphasis on that. But this season we're ready to go. You know, we've got the team, we've got the players coming in and doing the job. So, you know, what can we say? We've got over the line.
I remember when you first came here, Jason, you were a good player. You've really matured as a player. You're playing that target so well. You're getting the important goals for the team. You've become a great team player for these Vic Vipers.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since to get into the rhythm, and finally got it. And hopefully we'll stay up there. You know, give it a good go.
The round 4 action continued as title hopefuls Metropolitan FC and Fitzroy FC, buoyed by Pascoe Vale's loss to the Vipers earlier on. A win for either side would go a long way in claiming the 2013-14 league title. Metropolitan got off to the ideal start, Tom Greenish converting an early penalty. Ilhan Altuntas' bobble strike got the better of Metro keeper Michael Charmy to level the scores at 1-1. Fitzroy, desperate to prove they're a threat even without Fernando De Moraes, got off to a good start in the second half as Ben Montaglioni hit the outside of the post with a free kick and then registered his first goal of the game, rounding keeper Jane Kaczewski, who went down way too early. A side ball from Altuntas set up Ale Granollers from long range as he was able to extend the lead to 3-1. But as we know, Metropolitan are fighters and they never give up or shy away from a challenge. Ernie Simsek continuing his good form in a blue shirt since joining from Pascoe Vale. A delightful strike by American import Jeremy Ortiz gifted Fitzroy some breathing space late on in the game. There was still time for Metropolitan to make a comeback, and a through ball from Ali Radzepovic found Ernie Simsek, and he converted from close range to get his second of the game. A late counter-attack by Alex Cobo in the dying seconds almost resulted in an equaliser, but luckily Jimmy Brennan was on hand to save.
I'm here with the captain from FC Fitzroy, Alistair Dunlop. Tough out there, wasn't it, today? You got on top of Metro early, 3-1. Then they came at you, levelled, and then you've got the most important goal to win the game.
Yeah.
Must be very pleasing.
Yeah, it was a very crucial goal by Jeremy at the end. Great bottom corner shot. It was very intense, much more intense than usual without Fernando to calm things down, give us some composure. But we got over the line, so that's a good thing.
The final game for round 4 saw Hume FC, who after 3 rounds had only had 1 point to their name. Albert Park was still slightly worse off, yet to register a result, and things weren't going the newly promoted side's way early on, as returning striker for Hume, Vadim Mazuski, gave his side a 1-0 lead. Mazuski was at it yet again, getting involved in the attack, setting up defender Nejdet Sahin, and it was soon 2-0 in a matter of minutes. Adam Alasevic, who has found it tough starting at his new club since transferring from Brimbank, got his confidence up by scoring an early goal. And then an awkward cross by Jordan Michaelis goal for Nejdat Sahin, who grabbed the second, and Hume were really turning it on. But the heavy favourites didn't have everything their own way, as Huang Bui, the talented defender for Albert Park, registered his sides first, and then when gifted too much space at the tip of the D, made it 2 in a matter of minutes. Desperate to record their first win of the season, Hume put on the afterburners yet again, as Mehmet Parlak and Cesar Cisadag linked up with a slick 1-2 for their side's 5th goal. Then Cisadag had a hand in Mazuski's 4th of the half to make it 9-2 at the break. At the start of the second half, Hume showed how dominant they actually were by scoring from the immediate kickoff for Dim Mazuski and Matej Vedrovsky, rediscovering the form that made Hume such a weapon last season. The Russian striker continued to do as he pleased, as he was left unmarked at the back post and he got his 6th of the game and soon made it 7. The Albert Park defence certainly didn't have an answer for the talented Russian and reignited Hume, who had a rough start to the season. It got worse for Albert Park as a keeper blunder allowed Jordan McCallis to get his name on the score sheet, and Hume was soon in a 10-2 advantage. Late in the game, when the pressure was off, Albert Park seemed to put together some good pieces of play. Kang Fan and Alissi Mutabazi linking up for their side's 3rd. A lung throw from Hume keeper Ryan Timmins fell to Matej Vedrovsky as he added the cherry on the cake for Hume's first win of the season.
I'm one of the stars from Hume FC, the star striker for Dim Mazuski.
Yes, thank you, sir.
It's good to get amongst the goal 7 tonight. Your previously best was 12. Were you aiming to beat that tonight?
No, I'm still not fit, so for me it was first game. Oh, actually I played last week a little bit, but it's only to check my knee. I'm still injured, I'm still not 100%. Hopefully 2 months and I will be fine again.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gents. Round 4 done and dusted, men's and women's. It's all heating up and the ladder's starting to take shape. But before we get there, let's take a look at the round 4 results. Ashburton and Mickleham played out a thriller, as did the Vipers and Pascoval. The El Clasico always lives up to expectations. While there were also important wins for Fitzroy and Hume. Taking a look at the ladder now, the Vic Vipers, after defeating Pascoval, are the outright leaders after round 4. Pascoval then sit in 2nd position on 9, joined with Fitzroy. Ashburton creep into the top 4 at the expense of Metropolitan. Hume, with their first win of the season, get further away from Albert Park and Mickleham, who are still pointless after 4 rounds. Taking a look at the race for the Golden Boot, it is an exciting race. Ernie Simsek from Metropolitan leads the way outright on 9 goals, followed by Jason Barrientos, Ricky Castro, Nejdat Sahin and Vadim Mazuski, who after 1 game gets 7 goals. Having a look at next week's clashes, there are a lot of mouth-watering encounters on offer. The Vic Vipers and Ashburton comes to mind. Albert Park will look to upset Metropolitan. Mickleham will go up against Hume, and Pascoe Vale will look to get back to winning ways as they take on Fernando De Moraes' Fitzroy FC. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Let's go to Goal of the Week and see you next time.